If you thought you've seen it all on the tube, you ain't seen nothing yet until you've witnessed the epic craziness that is Yellowstone. Be warned, curious seekers, we will be delving into some spoilers ahead. The Duttons are not a bunch to shy away from a fight, be it trespassers on their ranch or even scuffles with their own kin. They certainly know how to get things done, especially if it's time to drop off a person or two at the train station. From epic showdowns to jaw-dropping plot twists to tear-jerking confessions, here are some of the most mind-blowing moments that have gone down in Yellowstone history. 1. Kayce killing someone in the pilot episode. We knew we were in for a wild ride when the first episode of Yellowstone started with a bang. The series follows the story of the Duttons, John Dutton being the patriarch of the family and the governor of Montana. Kayce Dutton, the youngest son of John Dutton, gets involved in a shootout between his father's ranch and the Native American reservation where he lives with his wife Monica and their son Tate. Kayce's brother Lee is killed by Monica's brother Robert during the shootout, and Kayce responded to the situation the way any rational person would, by shooting his brother-in-law right back. Later, Kayce lies to his wife about what happened and tries to cope with his guilt and grief throughout the season. Talk about a messy family affair. 2. The reason behind Beth's hatred for Jamie. One of the most heartbreaking revelations in Yellowstone was the reason behind Beth Dutton's hatred for her brother Jamie. Beth, the only daughter of John Dutton, is a fierce and ruthless businesswoman who often gets into business clashes with Jamie, who is a lawyer and a politician. But these clashes aren't just petty sibling rivalry. In Season 3, we learn that Beth got pregnant when she was a teenager and turned to Jamie for help. He in turn took her to an abortion clinic that also performed a hysterectomy on her while leaving her in the dark regarding the decision, rendering her unable to have children. It's one thing to hate your sibling for stealing the last cookie in the jar, but Beth's bitterness towards Jamie is by no means a normal petty sibling feud. 3. John teaches the trespassing bikers a lesson. John Dutton is not someone you want to mess with. He's a powerful and influential man who has a lot of enemies and a lot of allies. A diverse social circle for sure. He also knows how to send a message to those who cross him or threaten his land. Like when he dealt with some trespassing bikers who burned his field and caused some damage to his property. John and his men waited for them at night and made them dig their own graves at gunpoint. He then let them go, but warned them that if they ever came back, he would fill those graves with their bodies. Needless to say, those bikers didn't need a second invitation. 4. Jamie kills a reporter. We all know how Jamie Dutton is a complicated character. He's loyal to his father, but has ambitions for himself. Jamie is smart as a whip, although sometimes he can be a tad naive. We all have our blind spots, right? But killing a reporter who had evidence of his involvement in covering up several murders committed by his family is a little too much, no? Although in his defense, Jamie tried to bribe her to drop the story. And when she did not comply and threatened to expose him, Jamie took the course of action any Dutton in his place would have. He strangled her to death, then dumped her body in a river. We all say we would kill for our family. In Jamie's case, he meant it literally. 5. The Dutton family bombing and a duel. The Season 3 finale of Yellowstone was one of the most explosive, pun intended, episodes ever. John, Beth, and Kayce were all targeted by unknown assailants who planted explosives in their offices and vehicles. John was shot by a roadside gunman, Beth's office was blown up by a package bomb, and Kayce was ambushed by gunmen in his office. The fate of the 3 Duttons was left hanging until Season 4, which revealed that they all survived, but with serious injuries and trauma. Meanwhile, Rip and Lloyd faced off against 2 hired killers who tried to infiltrate the ranch and ended up killing them in a brutal duel. These twists were sure to give viewers a whiplash, and we loved every second of it. 6. When Evelyn died. You might think that Beth Dutton is just a cold-hearted bitch who hates everyone, but she's just like the rest of us, with severe mommy issues. It all traces back to the day her mother died in a horrible accident. Evelyn Dutton was riding with Beth and Kayce when her horse freaked out and threw her off. She was crushed by her horse and died in agony. But before she died, she blamed Beth for the entire accident and told her to get help. But help never came. and Beth had to watch her mother die. How traumatic is that? Evelyn's death scarred the Dutton family forever, especially Beth, who never felt loved by her mother or her father. 7. Tim McGraw's flashback scene as James Dutton. Another one of the shocking moments in Yellowstone was when the show took us back to 1893 for a flashback scene that introduced Tim McGraw as James Dutton, John Dutton's grandfather. The scene also showed the young versions of John Dutton Sr. and Spencer Dutton, James's sons. Now, here's where things get interesting. This scene is actually a clever way to bridge the gap between Yellowstone and its upcoming prequel, 1883. The prequel will take us on an incredible journey alongside James and his wife Margaret as they venture across the country to build a brand new life in Montana. The scene was a shocking moment that gave us a glimpse of the origins of the Dutton family and their legacy, as well as a sneak peek of the spin-off series. 8. When Rip killed Walker. Rip Wheeler, the ultimate right-hand man to John Dutton and Beth's lover, didn't blink while killing Walker, a former ranch hand who turned his back on the Duttons. To say Walker had it coming wouldn't be too far-fetched, as we had seen how trouble seemed to follow wherever he went, including brushes with the law and clashes with the Duttons becoming all too common. Eventually, when Walker did decide he'd had enough and bid farewell to life on the ranch, he made the fatal mistake of telling Rip that he knew all about the train station, which was a desolate cliff in the middle of nowhere, where the Duttons dispose of their enemies without leaving a single trace behind. Now, Rip, being the loyal soldier he is, couldn't simply let Walker walk away after dropping that bombshell. He took him straight to the very train station, ready to end Walker's story right then and there. But just when it seemed like curtains for our backstabbing friend, Kayce, the voice of reason in the Dutton family, stepped in and saved the day. Talk about a close call. Walker, instead of being rational, had the audacity to join forces with Rourke Morris, a rival rancher who wanted to take down the Duttons. Fast forward to season 4, and Rip discovers that Walker is not only alive and kicking, but also working hand in hand with Rourke. Well, that's all it took to push Rip over the edge. The two crossed paths in a dimly lit bar, and let's just say, things got messy real quick. Rip stabbed Walker in the neck and left him to bleed out on the floor. 9. When Jamie found out he was adopted. Another shocking moment in Yellowstone was when Jamie Dutton, John Dutton's son, found out that he was adopted. Jamie had always felt like an outsider in his family, as he was often at odds with his father and his siblings. He had also done some questionable things to further his career and to cover up his family's crimes. In season 3, he decided to run for Attorney General of Montana, but he needed his birth certificate to do so. He sought his birth certificate form from his dad, but John flat out refused. So he tracked down his biological father, Garrett Randall, who's in prison for killing Jamie's mom. Garrett told him the truth about his past and his adoption. He also told him that he was a product of rape and that he had killed his mother because she loved Jamie more than him. He then urged Jamie to kill John and take over his ranch. Let us know in the comments which Yellowstone moment had you shocked the most, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this.